Hello everyone, welcome to the channel that talks about true crime. Don't forget to subscribe to keep up with all the episodes. Please pray that I come back alive. These were Samia Shahid's exact words as she set out for Pakistan to see her sick father. Why should a woman be in charge of her own life? Or is the honor and image of your family more important than anything else? Samia Shahid was born in Bradford, West Yorkshire, UK, on November 15, 1987. Bradford is England's sixth largest city, and its people come from a lot of different backgrounds. A lot of people from South Asia have made that place their home. There, a big family with the last name Shahid lived. They were from Pakistan. In Pakistan, Samia's parents lived in a small village called Pundari. They later went to the UK with their daughter. Like many other people, they came to the UK to find better chances for themselves and their family. Mitha was Samia's sister name. It was a mix of British and Pakistani society that the girls grew up in Bradford. As second-generation immigrants, they moved back and forth between these two cultures, balancing the beliefs and values of their Pakistani background with the realities of living in a Western country like the UK. People in Bradford knew the Shahid family and their cousins because they ran a lot of businesses. The parents ran their own business, renting out limos and cars. There was an uncle who owned a fish and chip shop and another who ran a flower shop. All five of Imtiaz's brothers were well known in the area. Samia loved her big family, which included many uncles, nephews, and nieces. The girl Samia was always happy, friendly, and full of life. She was very close to her dad and loved him very much. Her word was law when it came from Chaudhry Muhammad. He asked her to do anything, and she was ready to, and her father loved her back. Since Samia and Mitha lived in the UK, they had the chance to get an education in the West. However, the Shahid family valued Pakistani culture and stayed true to their Muslim religion. These people were Sunni Muslims. Along with Shia Islam, Sunni Islam is one of the two main types of Islam. The vast majority of Muslims call themselves Sunni. The Shahid family followed some rules. Samia loved going fast, but she wasn't allowed to drive. She would rent a car and drive carelessly, stepping on the gas without stopping. She liked to put on makeup and style her hair and take care of her look. Samia worked part-time at the Bradford post office, but her father paid for her whole education because he loved her so much. A lot of what Samia wanted came true. Friends, more than 90% of people who watch videos do not subscribe to the site. Make sure you're signed up. If not, would you please be so kind as to subscribe to the channel to help me out? Mitha, her sister, had some different ideas about life. But no matter how different they were, the sister's most important value was family. In Pakistan, family was always the most important thing. Family comes first. Samia seemed to get what she wanted, but what mattered most to her was that her family liked her. Before she could make a choice, she had to get her parents and other older family members to agree on it. Samia cared deeply about them and didn't want to hurt them, so she could never be completely honest with them. She had to hide a lot from her dad so he wouldn't get mad. Think about the car races. Mom and Dad told Samia it was time to grow up when she turned 25 in 2012. In the West, people could no longer live freely forever. In line with custom, her mother told her she had to go to Pakistan to get married. There are still a lot of arranged weddings, and even though Sunni Islam doesn't require them, it still encourages them. What came as no surprise was when Samia's folks asked her to marry a certain man. The only reason she agreed was because she thought it was best for her family. She was proud of her history and culture, and she didn't want to let her parents down. In February 2012, Samia's family agreed that she should marry Chaudhry Muhammad Shakil so that they would be proud of her. Samia would not have chosen Shakil as her husband. It was his hometown in Pakistan, and he was Samia's cousin. She knew him since they were kids and had always thought of him as a brother, not a possible husband. Besides that, he had just gotten out of jail for shooting another man over a land disagreement. With British Pakistanis, marrying distant cousins is mostly done to keep land in the family and grow family estates. Her parents got married because they were cousins, and the marriage worked out well. Samia was taken to different Pakistani stores to buy whatever she wanted to get ready for the wedding. Beautiful clothes, trendy jewelry, and items that go with them. Everything was paid for by her dad, Muhammad. Samia looked around with interest and tried to get excited about planning her wedding. She knew that money couldn't buy happiness, though. They picked a husband for her, but she wasn't really happy with him. But she had to accept it at that moment. Samia knew that her parents wanted her to find the best husband, but she was sure that being married to Shakil would make her sad. She didn't want to upset her family by telling them, so she did everything she could to look happy. About halfway through February 2012, Samia got on a plane to go to Pakistan. Before she left, she sent a message to saying she couldn't believe she was making the biggest mistake of her life. Later, her sister Meetha said that many of these claims were not true. She said that Samia had been asked to marry several men, but she picked Shakil. There was a plan for the marriage, but it wasn't forced. Also, forced marriage is not the same as planned marriage. When Samia got to Pakistan to meet Shakil, the man she would marry, she wrote to her friends that she was so sick she could barely look at him and was glad she didn't throw up when she saw him. Samia and Shakil's wedding was very fancy. There were a lot of people from Bradford who came to Pakistan to celebrate with the happy pair. 5 days of events began on February 27, 2012, with more than 1,000 people present. He gave them their own house next to the family home in Pandari as a wedding present. Samia and Shakil moved into this house after they got married and lived there together as husband and wife. The young wife couldn't come to terms with the idea of moving to this small town and changing her life. Still, Samia lived in this house with her husband for 4 months before going back to Bradford by herself in June 2012. Shakil stayed in Pakistan while he waited for papers to leave the country. Samia went back to England to get her husband a spousal visa so he could become a British citizen. She wasn't in a hurry, though. Samia and Shakil got married in Pakistan in a nikah ceremony, which is an official Muslim marriage contract. Based on Sharia law, this is a legal marriage and means that a man and a woman agreed to it in front of witnesses and a religious leader. But British law says that certain steps must be taken to legally register such a marriage. One of these is getting married in a civil ceremony in the UK, and getting a marriage certificate that proves the marriage officially. Without official papers, the nikah was not seen as a valid marriage in another country. Samia's friends saw that she had changed and was acting differently after she got back to the UK. It was clear that she was angry at her folks. When Samia talked about her husband Shakil, she got tense and nervous. She thought he was looking at her all the time. Samia lived in a different country, but Shakil demanded she call him every day on Skype and talk to him most of the day. Being married to Shakil made the young woman feel stuck. In August, she told a friend that she wanted to die, hated her life, and no longer wanted to be his wife. Her family, on the other hand, said that Samia told everyone in Bradford about how expensive her wedding was and how happy she was in her marriage. Otherwise, why would she choose to fly back to Pakistan to be with Shakil if she wasn't happy? From these different points of view, it looked like the marriage wasn't as easy as it seemed. Samia moved back to the UK after 6 months living with her husband in Pakistan. This time, her friends saw the old Samia, who was bright, happy, smiling, and friendly. But there was a reason for this. The girl told her friends about a man she met named Syed Mukhtar Qasim. His friends called him Ollie. Ollie was from Pakistan too, but he was a British citizen and worked in Dubai. They met online and became friends right away. When they finally met in person in London in October 2013, they fell in love right away. Ollie was everything that Soumya looked for in a guy. He loved, cared, and was nice. He completely understood her, and he felt the same way about her. When Soumya was around, everything in his life made sense. They knew that being together put their lives at risk, but they fought because they loved each other too much to give up the hate and danger they were facing. Soumya told Ollie what was going on in her life, and how she had married someone she thought of as a brother, and who controlled her. Ollie didn't get how a husband and father could treat their daughter like something to buy or trade. Soumya was sure that she wanted to spend her whole life with Ollie, have kids with him, and get old with him. To do this, she had to get a split from Shakil. Their marriage wasn't legal in Britain, so she couldn't get a divorce there. Sharia law says that Soumya and Shakil should not have been married, so they had to get a divorce. Soumya asked Shakil for a divorce in May 2014, but he said no. Sharia law says that both the girl and the groom must agree to the marriage for it to be legal. If it turns out that one of them agreed to the wedding because they were threatened with physical, financial, mental, or emotional harm, the marriage can be seen as forced and be thrown out. Soumya went to the Islamic Sharia Council of the UK and asked for help. She also switched from Sunni Islam to Ollie's branch of Islam, Shia Islam. After that, she went to a mosque to talk to a religious leader. They put Soumya under oath and asked her about her first marriage. She said it was forced and she didn't want to get married. When the cleric got this information, he wrote to Soumya's husband and asked for his story of what happened. But Shakil wouldn't talk about their marriage, so the judge in charge of the case said Soumya and Shakil's marriage was not legal. Soumya signed the divorce papers with a group of friends by her side. Her family didn't even know this was going on at that time. This didn't make sense since she lived with her folks in Bradford. Soon enough, Ollie and Soumya planned and set up their own wedding. In September 2014, they got married in secret in Leeds. Only a few friends were there to help the bride get ready for the wedding. The nikah service was led by Mr. Kazmi, the same imam who had divorced her from Shakil. The day of Soumya and Ollie's wedding was a happy one. One of the bride's friends heard her say that she felt like a princess and was so happy. They also made sure the UK Record Office knew about their marriage, but the wedding day did not mark the start of a happy family life with her beloved husband. Soon after, in October 2014, Soumya was attacked by some guys in an alley while walking down the street with her cousin. It's strange that only Soumya was hurt. Metal bars were used to hit her in the legs. It was clear that the attack was planned ahead of time and that the person who was hurt was not picked at random. The girls called the cops right away to report the attack and the injuries. Soumya had red and purple marks all over her legs. People who knew her family probably planned this attack, which was probably because she was married to Ollie. It looked like the secret was out. After getting married, her new husband had to go back to Dubai for work. His young wife stayed in Bradford to wait for a visa so she could join him later. After their daughter called them from the police station, it looks like the Shahid family found out about the attack on their daughter over the phone. But instead of getting help, she was insulted all the time. The cops heard the whole thing, but Imtiaz, Soumya's mother, didn't know that other people were listening. Soumya did this on purpose to show the cops the dangerous place she had been living lately. She felt trapped in the house where she used to be happy, having to deal with mean words from the people she loved most in the world. Living with a family that had such strong beliefs and ideals for a long time was hard. Soumya sometimes felt trapped by being constantly watched and couldn't get away from the web of rules that were put on her. Before she met Ollie, she didn't see a way out. Soumya grew up in the West and depended on her parents for everything. She couldn't imagine living a different life where she could make her own decisions and choices. She was strong enough to hold on and not give up after her secret marriage to Ollie. Samia's parents didn't find out about her split from Shakil until May 2015, and they were very upset about it. At least until then, they hadn't said out loud that they had doubts. They said the divorce was not legal because the Islamic Sharia Council did not have any power in the UK or Pakistan. So, in their eyes, Samia was still formally married to Shakil. Her mother was the one who was most unhappy. Imtiaz called her daughter names and told her to stop being so stupid and not bring shame on the family. Ollie hoped that things would get better when he got back to Dubai. But they knew they would never be safe in Bradford if they stayed there. Not getting along with family could end in tragedy. There are many stories of crimes done out of honor. Samia was lucky enough to get a visa for Dubai that same month. Some friends helped her buy a ticket and get ready to leave without her knowing. Samia got on a plane and went to Ollie the next day as soon as the papers were ready. Because she loved her family so much, it was hard for her to make the choice. She went against her family and friends for the first time to be happy, hoping that this sacrifice would be worth it. As soon as Samia left for Dubai, her parents called the cops to say she was missing. The family just couldn't accept that she had chosen for herself and not cared what they thought. When they found out that their daughter had married someone else in secret, they thought the second marriage was fake. They went to Mr. Kazmi, the leader of the Shia mosque, and asked him to explain. They wouldn't listen to any good reasons and thought that their daughter's relationship with Ali was the same as adultery because, according to Muslim law, she was still married to Shakil. The Shaheed family even made threats against the priest for helping Samia sin. Mr. Kazmi told the cops about the threats, and they gave him some safety tips. Samia, on the other hand, was very happy in Dubai. She loved living a happy life full of love. She cooked, drove, and loved her husband Ollie very much. Samia told everyone on social media how happy she was. They were so excited to have kids. Samia was dying to have a child and was eager to become a mom right away. That being said, she couldn't leave her family behind and wanted to live in both Bradford and Dubai. Samia has always wanted to bring up her children in the UK. She wished they would become British. She had lived in England with her big family for almost all of her aware life. She had no idea that this tension between her and her family would last her whole life. Almost every day, Samia tried to tell her parents that she wasn't to blame and that all she wanted was to be happy. It was hard for her to be married to Shakil all the time. They should love Ollie as much as she did and be okay with her decision. In her wildest dreams, Samia looked forward to seeing her dad with Ollie the most. But her wishes were not given. He called the fake son-in-law instead and told him to leave his daughter alone. Ollie, of course, said no, saying that Samia was now his former wife and he would not leave her. Muhammad didn't see the new husband as part of the family because he wasn't a Sunni Muslim. Also, they got married in secret, without their parents' permission. In some societies, family honor and reputation are very important. It was Ollie and Samia who had disrespected the Shaheed family in the eyes of her parents and other cousins. Now everyone would blame them. Samia found out in June 2016 that her aunt, Shakil's mother, had died. Samia was really mad. Going to Pakistan for the funeral was important to her because she loved her aunt. But she knew the trip would be dangerous and risky because many people, including Shakil's family, thought she had treated them badly and made the family look bad. And she agreed with Ollie that it would be better to stay in Dubai. Muhammad, her father, also had health problems. Having diabetes hurt him. The other day, Samia got a call from her mom and sister Mitha. They told them that their father's health had gotten much worse while they were in Pakistan, and that he might not have much time left. She would never be able to forgive herself if she didn't say goodbye to her father before he died. So, after giving it a lot of thought, she decided to go to Pakistan. Ollie did not agree with her choice. He was mad but couldn't do anything about it. It was her dad after all. How could he stop her? Someone hurt Chaudhry Muhammad and Soumya wasn't there. She would never forgive herself. Mitha had already bought her a plane ticket as well. Ollie still drove his wife to the airport even though he was very scared for her. He told her she could still decide otherwise. She was looking forward to seeing her family and friends again after a long time, so Soumya told her husband she would be fine. They went their separate ways. Soumya got on the plane and went to Pakistan on July 14, 2016. This is what she told a friend before her flight. "Pray that I return alive. If you like this video, don't forget to follow the channel. It's very important." Soumya stayed at a friend's house her first night in Pakistan. She left her papers and return ticket there to be safe. During her stay, she kept in touch with Ollie all the time to reassure him that she was safe. She stayed with her family in Pakistan the whole time. On July 18th, she and her father went to see her aunt's grave. At the end of July, Ollie told her about a bad dream he had. She told him to pray for her safe return to Dubai. In 2 days, she was meant to fly home, but on July 20th, Soumya stopped answering her phone. There was no response to Ollie's texts, which made him very worried. That night, a sad man called the Pundhari police station to say that his daughter had died. The cops found the body of a woman at the bottom of the stairs when they got to the house. Soumya was the one who was dead. Her purse was at her feet, her shoes were close, and she had a black scarf over her face. She had her eyes closed and mouth foaming. The caller said that he was Muhammad, Soumya's father. The man told the police that his daughter lived in this house with her husband Shakil. He then pointed to the stairs where his daughter had fallen and died. The father of Shakil just shrugged and told the cops that he didn't know where his son was. Since Soumya died, no one had seen him. After a few hours, Soumya's mother and sister came to Pakistan after hearing that she had died. An autopsy was done right away, and then the body of the young woman was given to her family. Soumya was buried by her family the same day she died. The police report said there were no injuries or other obvious signs of violence on the body, so her death was not thought to be suspicious. It is common for people to be buried quickly because Muslim customs and Sharia law say that someone must be buried right away if there is no question about how they died. Reports of Soumya's death spread quickly, but they were not all the same. Some people said the young woman died of a heart attack or an asthma attack, while others said she broke her neck when she fell down the stairs. Local news outlets said that Soumya killed herself because she was so depressed about not having kids, but her family rejected this. Soumya's cousin called Ollie to say that she had died of a heart attack. At first, Ollie didn't believe it. He thought it was a sick joke that they were trying to keep her in Pakistan. To be with his wife, he took the first trip. To tell the Pundhari police that his wife had been killed. He went there when he knew Soumya was really dead. Ollie talked about how Soumya's family was very angry when she left her first husband, Shakil. The police's view of Soumya's death changed after hearing his story. But since the body had already been buried, they couldn't do anything about it. They thought it might have been an honor killing. When news spread in England about the strange death of a young British woman, someone from a news station called Muhammad, Soumya's father. He said in an interview that his daughter was happy with her husband and that his name was Shakil. He said Ollie didn't exist at all and called him a blackmailer. Ollie finally got a copy of the autopsy report for Soumya. It said that a reddish-brown bruise was found around her neck and that she had been strangled to death. There was also male sperm in her body. It is thought that the cops were paid off at first to hide the real reason why Soumya Shahid died. Ollie held a press meeting right away in Pakistan and showed pictures of the bruise on his wife's neck to the reporters. He wanted everyone to know what happened to Soumya, so that he could figure out how she died and who was to blame. After this, Ollie needed police security 24 hours a day because he started getting a lot of death threats. Soumya's friends in the UK also did something. They got in touch with Naz Shah, a member of parliament from Bradford, through people they knew. The MP wrote directly to Pakistan's Prime Minister to tell him about Soumya's death, and was brave enough to call it an honor killing. Pakistani police didn't start a full investigation into Soumya Shahid's death until after that. The actions of Naz Shah had results. 2 guys from Bradford were caught making threats against the MP 8 days after running away. Shakil was caught and taken in to be questioned along with Chaudhry Mohammed, Soumya's father. Shakil told him that he wanted his wife to leave Ollie and stay with him in Pakistan instead of getting married again. He was mad at her for leaving him and not letting him move to the UK. He looked through Soumya's things in the morning of July 20th for her ID and return ticket, but couldn't find them. Shakil tried to stop her, but Soumya wouldn't listen. He was so mad that he pushed her onto the bed and raped her. His sperm was found inside her. Then Soumya tried to leave the house where she felt stuck during their marriage, but her ex-husband caught her, stretched a scarf around her neck, and grabbed her. Her dad said he had nothing to do with it. The cops didn't believe the story about a happy marriage this time. Investigators thought that both the Shahid and Shakil families looked down on Soumya's plan to get a divorce, marry someone who wasn't a Sunni Muslim, and run away with him to Dubai. This was seen as disrespectful by the families, and would have made it impossible for Shakil to move to the UK. They thought it was unthinkable for a woman to want to live her own life, and that she was betraying the family by doing so. When Soumya tried to run away from her first husband, she ran into her dad, who gave Shakil a thumbs up. Mohammed held his daughter's legs while Shakil choked her. Shakil then ran away, and her dad tried to make the crime look like an accident. The trouble was that there wasn't enough proof. Soumya's death was officially a murder, but it was not possible to prove who did it. Shakil was freed on bail in September 2018 after being locked up for 2 years. Even though he told the cops what he did, that wasn't enough to get him convicted in Pakistan. In 2019, he got married again to a British Pakistani woman and applied for a spousal visa to come to the UK, which was his main goal. But MP Naz Shah made sure that his visa application was turned down. After 4 months in jail, Soumya's father, Chaudhry Mohammed Shahid, went to the Supreme Court and asked for his release because there wasn't enough proof. The court didn't think there was enough proof to hold him in prison. He was taken to the hospital in January 2018 because his kidneys were failing, and he died there at the age of 52. Soumya's mother and sister were wanted for arrest in October 2016, but they were able to get back to the UK. After that, Mitha told a very different story of what happened. She said that their family was free, and that their parents never made them do anything against their will. Instead, Soumya often told her how bad things were with Ollie, and how he took all of her money while she was living in Dubai. She even sent pictures that showed how poor her life was. Soumya seemed to have a different idea of what her life would be like in Dubai. Due to false claims, Mitha thought these accusations destroyed their family, ruined their image, and left them poor. In any case, the sad truth is that someone sent a young woman to her death when she was at the peak of her life by people she loved and trusted. Soumya Shahid should have been able to choose for herself, even if she made mistakes. No one can kill someone else. It's too bad that the guys in the Shahid family never got this. The story is over now. Thank you for watching another video. It's fascinating how the world of true crime reveals just how complex the human mind can be. If you enjoy diving into these mysteries and following intriguing cases, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps to bring more stories to you. Until the next investigation.